Good day, fine people, and thank you so much for checking out the Large Impact podcast series. And today I am blessed to be with, or I guess we're all blessed to be with, Miss Irene, and I'm going to butcher her name and everything else, so I'm going to let her kind of introduce herself. But she is an amazing, motivated autism mama who has created a space in Nairobi, Kenya, correct? Am I right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
For autism education. So much like a lot of organizations making a pivot. So I'm going to let Irene introduce herself and talk a little bit about where she was and where she thinks she's going to go. And in between, I'm going to pepper it with questions and stuff. We're going to learn more about Miss Irene. So you're on, Miss Irene. You go.
Okay. Thank you, Betty. It's nice. It's nice to hear from you again. My name is Irene Muturi-Kigathi, and I'm sure she would have butchered my name. That's so true. I am from Nairobi, Kenya, but I live in Limuru, which is about 1 hour's drive from the capital city. So we live in the rural highlands, and we have tea surrounding us. And I am a parent to a child who's now 28 years. I think she's just turned 28 years, a girl with autism, among the first cases that we had in the Ministry of Education who are fighting for the rights of their children to be known as autism and not mental retarded. So we've come a long way as a country. We now have autism schools, but we still don't have a curriculum that can actually train the child on life skills, on basic community participation skills, how to integrate the child back into the community. And so for the last few years of my organization called Tuleane Africa Initiative, Tuleane meaning in Kiswahili, we are bringing each other up. We are coming together to empower one of us to move on in the right direction. That is actually a general overview of the name Tuleane. So we have been championing the cause of the child with autism and developmental delays to ensure that one, they are placed in school, two, there is quality education, and three, we have um, a, a way of transiting that child from school. Otherwise, they stay in school until they're 30, they're 35, 45 years. We have no exit for the child with autism and developmental disabilities. That is until your child either gets tired of the uniform or decides they're not going back to school. So my daughter is, I would say, relatively good. Of course, they usually know how to be good anyway. Everybody with an autism child knows they have good days and bad days. The bad days are bad and the good days are good. So she's really well. Isn't that true? The good
So
days are
true.
really and the bad days are it could be a month of bad days, a week of bad days, or it's a season. So when she's in her element, she can cook, she'll clean, she'll do everything. When she's not so good, nothing happens, and she's behind the couch, no bathing, in a mess, and tantrums and meltdowns and anything that can make her get angry makes her angry. Actually, even a fly passing by can just make her
You
angry.
just never
So
know.
we have known how to manage the temperaments and everything that happens around her. We've managed to keep her space calm and to motivate her to be better most of the days. So I want to see that for every child with autism that I encounter. I usually say I may never touch every child in Kenya, but I can touch one, I can touch three, I can touch five. So last year, where we were at, we had three children, which we really worked hard towards. So we had one boy who got employment, and he's actually now working as a loader and cleaning of shelves in one of our major supermarkets. Then we also have one girl who joined a program that is from the government. It's actually free. They're trained online. So we got her a laptop and then we helped her to be able to study the course online. So I connected her with the program leader, and that's what she's doing currently. But one of them was really so low functioning that we are doing homeschooling, and they continue to do homeschooling with the teacher that I was working with. So way forward this year, at the end of last year, I felt like I'm not doing enough and I'm not taking care of my daughter. And I also went into my down moment. And so I stuck home. I think this is the first time I'm going back to work today from last October, actually, end of September. So I've been home for the last 3 months taking care of myself and nurturing me, first of all, to heal me before I go to heal others. And my dream is to come online and get the online space open for the African child, not just the Kenyan child, not just the one that I can reach when I visit a school, but the African child, reaching out to countries like Nigeria, Uganda, Eastern Africa as a whole, with the content that we are putting up online. It will help us be able to manage the African child in the African setup in our own African way. We understand our dusty roads, our no water, our messy markets. We have no structured form of living. So we do understand our cultures. We are relatively the same, but very similar. It could be different, could be similar, but the culture and everything in Africa remains standard. Whichever country you go into Africa, the market is the same, the home setup is the same. It's just the language. And so with that, I think we should cut across borders as an organization. We can also train online and empower the parents and the caregivers on how to nurture their child and understand that it's not always smooth sailing. We may think that this child will grow up, but they never will. They will not leave home. We don't have any space for them. So we are going to help the parent understand that, yes, my child is autistic. It's a lifelong condition. That's number one. It's not changing. That's number two. They never grow out of their meltdowns. They still have their down moments, and it's just coming up with a way to bring the child in a comfortable place. So making them as comfortable as they can.
You're amazing. And I guess you started a couple of years ago. I don't know the timeline, but like not too long. When you had those 3 children who are like moving into adulthood, you had an actual center, right?
Yes, I did.
Center. And it was it was going and kind of growing.
Yes.
But you were limited, like most of us are, by human resources, financial resources, and
yes,
that was supposed to be like a training facility, right? And that's how you worked with those 3 amazing children who you've helped so much and their parents. And
yes.
And then it helped you to kind of see the issue and what you were trying to do. But due to those constraints that I had just mentioned, you had to close the center, which was
yes, I did.
Which was, I can only imagine, that's probably where the dark times started.
Yes, that is where the dark times started, because we were unable to get enough resources to keep it going. And also the challenges of human resource, where, just the personnel to work with who have the passion and the drive to do what you're doing, were also a real challenge. But the parent and the child are still in need, whether we struggle with finances, whether we struggle with the human resource, and occupying a space that is demanding a substantial amount of money is also limiting in its way, because to me, that was the heaviest burden that I have ever carried in my life. And to be honest, I had to tell the landlady that I have to leave with whatever debt that I had. She lets me work it out in whatever way that we can in the coming year. So it's still something that's pending. But one thing that I do know is that it's easier to work without that huge burden on your back. And it's also free. It also frees you to be able to reach out to others and to reach out and to think different. That's how I've come up with thinking something that is entirely different, that does not limit me to time and time zones and space. Uh, Not that we have any funding yet. We still are struggling to get ourselves going. So we are just looking forward to a year that we can start implementing something different, and hoping and trusting that in the months ahead that things will pick up and they will start turning around. It will not stop me picking a call and answering somebody about a question that they may have, or maybe help that they do need, or where can they place their child, or where can they get help from the government. All those things, I'll still be doing them whether I have an office or not, and whether I have funds or not. So we still reach out either way, because I believe I've been in the autism space from the time I knew my daughter was not what everybody would have wanted. I usually say I went to a trip to Holland and I had not learned the language, in the Dutch language. So I had to relearn the language. I had to relearn the culture of Dutch when I gave birth to my daughter, because I didn't understand what autism was all about, or what disability was all about. I've not seen anybody with a disability in my family.
Did you just say you went to Holland?
Yeah, when I got my baby, I had to relearn her language. Do you understand me now? It
Oh,
means to me, I usually share a story that I got pregnant, which means I boarded a train or an airplane, thinking I would get to England where we speak English and I understand the language of the Englishman. But I found myself during the delivery room headed to Holland, and I had to learn the culture of autism and how they portray themselves and what happens. And when I got to know that she was autistic, after several tries with the doctors and everybody telling me it's Down syndrome, it's mental retardation, it's all sorts of things, when she was 7 years. So I'm talking about 21 years of working with autism. I believe I have a lot of resources that I can share with parents who are coming up, and
mm-hmm.
also through the experiences with my daughter and what I have trained her to do outside school, because she can make gift cards, she can do cards, she can do jewelry, she can do, those are her earrings, by the way. She
Very
can do,
pretty. Good job.
yeah, there you are. Quite cute. So she can do jewelry, she can do card and gift bags, she can wrap them nicely, and she can also make chocolate. So I've taught her quite a lot of things that I know how to do, and she can do them herself. So I think I can also train parents on how to do the community work, get her out in the community, create a space that is safe within the home environment,
And
where
there's
it's a
even much
radiance
of
of
that.
maybe 1.
Like in your, I'm sorry, excuse me, but in your work and life and experience, starting the
Mm-hmm.
center and everything else, the conversations that we've had over the last, I don't know, year or two, um,
Mm-hmm.
the way you talk, I feel like you could be over here in the United States, right? But what you've shared with me is that, autism is kind of on the map, but, a lot of parents don't have the education or the knowledge or anything. And like, so, um, that's one of the issues that, and then you still have to break down the barriers of, this child isn't, like we go through with the judgment, and it's not a naughty child or horrible parents, but a lot of times you're there, and what you've identified is you want to support and educate the parents on autism and how to lead
Yes,
the care for them
to
and where
lead.
them don't
It's,
have that information. So we've been talking about, and we're trying to create this online module together.
mhm. Yes.
And you're talking, I love how, your vision is going. You're already like blowing the doors off of Kenya. I'm out of here. I'm going the whole continent. I'm coming, right? People,
Well, I've
your
been in
visions are
Kenya for.
so amazing. You're just like, I'm going, I can do it. So, can you, because we shared our general autism awareness module script and stuff with you, but like you made some tweaks to it, I think, and that we still need to do a voiceover in
Mhm.
Kiswahili, right?
Yes.
Will that what is primarily in that module? What are you trying to communicate in the module, and who is your audience? Because I felt like we talked about the government
Mm-hmm.
and then
Now,
parents.
right now, the government takes a second stage.
Mm,
There's a friend of mine who's training schools, maybe 5 hour drives from the capital city, who barely understand English. They can understand English, but you would want it to hit home in a language that they can understand.
sure.
And also to realize as well that autism is not just in their home. It's beyond their home. It's beyond Kenya. It's beyond Africa. It's in the USA. It's a condition that just doesn't happen in your home setup, because we kind of believe back in the rural villages, we do think sometimes that it's witchcraft, or that maybe somebody looked at you with a bad eye when you were pregnant, and that's why you gave birth to a child with a disability. So we have all these traditional ways of thinking that uh, it is something cultural. So either the child is taken for immense prayers and they're trying to exorcise the spirit of all these things that is happening in the autism child, and the child gets so frightened, and you take them to spaces where the child is really out of their comfort zone, and so they once they start having a tantrum and having a meltdown, now they think they're exercising the demons or whatever it is. So I just want such places to know that it's okay to be not okay. We don't have to be perfect, and there's nothing as good as perfect. There's nobody who's perfect. We all have our disabilities, as I usually say, and I have my shortcomings as well. So what they do portray is their best and their worst, and I have my best too. And as I've shared, I also had my worst in the last 3 months that passed by. So I want that module to create the awareness within the communities, and to know that when you go in a certain space, this is what you should expect to happen. This is what you can request to happen, so that you have a space that is safe. And we can also empower the hotels and establishments and the schools that are around us, the hospitals, to give them, we have that, yes, in the country, to request when you have a child with disability, not to queue in public spaces or just to get the services as fast as possible. But I don't think that information has gotten to the establishments and to the small spaces that we have in the rural communities. So that module is to help me empower a community, say like somewhere in Samburu or somewhere in Masai Land or somewhere in Tarakaniti or Lamu, out of the capital city completely, where they would know that it's okay to go into a hotel and request for a space for my son, my daughter, to have a quiet space, to turn off the music because maybe the music irritates the child. So that's why I'm looking at the module to come help us speak from a general point of view, that it is a whole wide thing. It's worldwide. It's not just a Kenyan thing. It's not just your family thing. And making them see the bigger picture of what autism is all about.
Okay. So I'm going to take you back to when you were talking about trying to exercise the autism demon or whatever it is, right? And in
Yeah.
the rural communities, and there's still this belief. And my guess is it's fairly ingrained, right? It's like, that seems to me, because it's cultural, to be a huge, for lack of a better word, barrier,
It
and
is a huge.
do you like how you've made some progress in some communities, and so that this education works, but
Yes, I do.
do you it sounds like a huge endeavor to go to these different villages and communities with these witchcraft, kind of ingrained cultural issues. Like, how are you going to overcome that? Because my guess is it's widespread.
It is widespread. One, it is a notion that's spread by the churches because we talk about generational curses that come and go. It's an African thing. And well, I'm African. I've come from Africa. And I know what it takes to be. I've been there, Becky. I've been there. People have told me to take my child to be prayed for. People have told me that if I give her this concoction of some medicine, that she'll speak, she'll be eloquent. I should do this, I should do that. I have been told all those things, and I have tried some. It's not that I haven't tried.
Sure.
I
And there's
have.
places here that
Pardon?
actually there's people or organizations here that suggest that drinking bleach would
Oh,
right, so like it's not just there, but it does, when you share your education expertise with, you said it starts with the churches. So are you starting with the churches, or no? You're going to the parents and you're telling them it's okay. So you're
yes.
getting pushback from churches then? Are you like
Yes,
vilifying?
churches. Churches have been a big problem too because we rarely go with our children to church. It takes a while for them to be appreciated. I think their uniqueness is what makes the world interesting. For me, I believe that when God created us, He would have made us all alike, but He didn't. We have different hair textures. We have different kind of nails. We have long, short, fat, round. We have everything. So if He wanted to make us the same, He would have. And for their uniqueness is what I want people to appreciate as a uniqueness. So I will speak in various forums. I will seek requests in various churches, starting from where I go. And it will be important because people say, oh, if you give them this diets work, or diets don't do this, diet don't do that. And I keep asking them, I've not seen an American child not eating wheat. Wheat is their staple diet. So why would I deny that? And then the child grow up, let the child choose what they can and what they cannot eat. I believe in giving the freedom of what they can do and expressing their rights. As long as they're eating a balanced diet, it is a balanced diet. And if they don't take it in a juice format. That's what I do for my daughter when she doesn't want to take greens, but she's come to appreciate the greens. I blend them and put them something nice, and she thinks it's something nice.
Tell me
Good.
what you do. Give me that. That could be a good stuff. So tell me about this green thing.
You
Share.
just make it into a smoothie and make it into a juice, add a pineapple, add an apple, make it sweeter. And voila, it's vegetables. That
So
is
what
kale.
greens are you putting in?
I put kale, I put spinach, I put broccoli, I put a green apple and a pineapple to sweeten it. That
And is
is
that
ripe.
it?
So
Or is
I
there some sort of protein powder or something you're throwing in there too, or is that it?
no, I don't do any protein powder. She has no problem with meat, and she loves meat. So that's not a problem. The problem is the greens. So I make it into a smoothie, and she takes it, and she loves it.
Cool.
So that's what I do. I just reinvent
Yeah.
for her what she wants to take, and if I take it, it's good to go. So we take it to the two of us, and with my son doesn't like it. Funny enough, I think he doesn't like that stuff. So we take it together, and it's actually fun. So she
Sure.
feels it's something that me are doing together. So I want to show them that there is a uniqueness in the child. It's not that I really love them, but we need to appreciate them for who they are. And that's what my bottom line in training is. I want to appreciate you in your God-given space. Because we have geniuses, we have madmen in the village, and we're coming to appreciate them. We had COVID and we accepted it. Why? Why not autism? It's about time we started being appreciated for who we are.
Okay.
Don't you think?
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, that's what we talk about all the time, right? So you have your daughter who's almost 28, and then you mentioned your son. How old is he?
He's 20. He's 20 years now.
And is it just the two?
Yeah, it's just the two of us. That's
So
the two of them.
the two of them. So, we know how autism impacts the whole family, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how your son's not into the green smoothie or whatever, but my oldest son is the one who's on the spectrum, and he has a younger brother, who's 25 months younger. And granted, there's a bigger age spread between your daughter and your son.
There is, yeah.
My youngest son, was really impacted by autism, and probably not in the best way necessarily, because there were all these, for lack of a better word, concessions, right? We were, different expectations and different supports. So the person with autism gets a lot of attention and, like really trying to tweak their life and their space and like where you're taking them and what you're doing and all this stuff, where the siblings and in my experience, the younger siblings really kind of really get the short end of the stick in a way, where they don't.
They're underrated.
Yeah, so and they're like the superheroes. Like I just contributed to a book called Superheroes on the Spectrum, and my superhero was underdog, right? Because that's kind of what we're talking about. How with your son, is there any intentional conversations with him, or have there been, or how does he react to this? Because I know that my younger son is supportive, but really feels as though he's been slighted in a way.
I know that's a
How
feeling.
does your
I know.
son?
I noticed when my son was, I think, in class 2, that was about 7, when he was age 7, that I spent too much time with my daughter. I had time to pick up from school. My life revolved around her. And so I made it intentional to include him in a lot of things. And actually, he's my biggest friend today. We sit and chat like, I think we are friends. We just have real conversations. Funny enough, my daughter lives with my mom and I live with my son. So my daughter moved out of home. She decided she's had enough of the two of us.
Oh, how long's that been?
It's been now 5 years. She's been living with grandma.
How far away
and
is
I live. Grandma is just a mile away. There's her house just across. But she rarely visits, and everything is done at grandma's home. So she doesn't come to visit us. She's not a part of our family. Whether we have a big bash or not, she only visits. She's a visitor. But I made it intentional. And I feel, as you say, that yes, we exclude the child without a disability. We become overwhelmed by the needs and the support and the care that this child needs. That despite the 8-year difference with my daughter and my son, I still didn't have that confidence of giving birth. That is one. I thought I would give birth to another child just like her. And then 2, I also thought that, this one, even when he was born, he kind of was not like mine, because I had to really take care of, Edith as she was going on and on. And her schooling was still a challenge, trying to find a place for her in school that she would settle in, trying to find the doctor or anything that we needed. It always took extra effort to find that one person. But I made it personal to include my son. And I want to make sure that all other parents include their children. For instance, Halvin's sister was about 12 years difference with Halvin. No. I think Halvin was 16, the girl was 7. So Halvin used to pick on her and kept beating her. So I called the parents and I told them, and I actually empowered the girl and I told her, do not let Halvin hit you. It is wrong. And then I also told the parents, you have to learn how to keep Halvin away from the sister, because at some point in life, she will take care of Halvin. And if you start putting bitterness in her now, she will never appreciate him, even after you guys have gone, or whoever leaves the earth before the other. So I really spoke to the parents and I empowered the young girl to make sure that she keeps herself away from Halvin. There were a lot of issues with Halvin, that they hadn't taught him privacy, they had not taught him even the basic toileting, and a lot of things he hadn't been taught. And he's 16 already. So I felt the girl was also under threat because without knowing your sexual organs, for instance, and why they do what they do, and you leave the child with her, the sister, it can turn out to be something else. So I really spoke to the parents to ensure that this child is taken care of, the girl, as much as they're looking after Halvin, that she needs parenting, she needs their love, she needs their support. She needs their accolades as well, and to be embraced and to be empowered to be the person that she's becoming without being a caregiver for Halvin when she's only 7, 8 years. And you can imagine how long she had been sitting with Halvin before I came into the picture, because she really cried when I told her that you need to find your own space. It
I
was
was
such a for
Yeah.
her.
So as you were talking about that, like, first of all, I just want to clarify, or just, Harvey was one of the three children that you were
Yes,
helping at the center. And
yes,
Harvey,
yes,
like you said, when he first came to you, was aggressive, if
mm-hmm,
not violent. Um,
mm-hmm,
and,
mm-hmm.
like you said, he didn't know how to toilet. There was a lot of, like, the basic skills of daily living
Yes,
that,
the
he
basic,
needed to
basic
be taught.
skills. Yes.
And and you had him for how long?
For 8 months, I had him for 8 months,
And you made some great
and
strides. And then, like, when you were talking about coaching the parents and the sister, and that you said
mhm,
that was a really powerful moment for the sister when she was,
yes,
told, you
yes.
do not have to suffer, you should find your own space. Was there kind of like a powerful moment where you saw the light bulb go on with the parents?
We had an aha moment, and even the parents realized, we have been doing it all wrong. And they realized it's their responsibility over Halvin, and they should not um, put so much pressure on the young girl to be home to take care of Halvin because they are going somewhere for an errand. It was their responsibility. As much as the child, they're all siblings, she cannot be the one who's the caregiver to Halvin, not
Um,
at her age.
right, right. So
Yeah.
that took it all, and, like, much like it doesn't matter, who we're targeting or what we're trying to do. It's all, we're trying to break down cultural barriers. We're trying to educate and, really affect real change. And I
Yeah.
think one of the more difficult aspects is it's truly one to one, right? One family to you, like, and then one person, like, when you're talking, I think maybe one of the things that you might have known but learned in trying to have the center was the amount of support, um and guidance and coaching and counseling that the person with autism needs, right? Because everyone's individual, like, we all know,
Mhm.
like Dr. Stephen Shore, once you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, but then you
Only
extend
one person.
the family, right? And then all of a sudden, it's it's huge. And I think, that's one of the things that's awesome for us, right? Because there's always more to
Yeah.
do. But then that's the other thing, the flip side of that coin is there's always more to do. Like,
There's
and how do
always
you do
something.
it, right? How do we do it? So I love your new vision, or your new, kind of coming to my side, is now
Mm-hmm.
everything works virtually, and you want to, create an online community, not just in Kenya, but in Africa. God bless you, Mama. And overcome, and
Oh,
educate these people and the parents, and then hopefully that will have, like, a trickle down effect or a triple up effect to the rest of the world. And then while you're doing that, you'll meet other mamas, probably a couple dads, maybe,
yeah.
to,
And
want to join forces with you and make this happen. So you're remarkable,
yeah, that's why
truly.
I'm hoping to get people who want to join me, train with me. I empower them on what I do, and they bring what they have learned to the space to make the spice better. The more the spices, the better the food. So we just make a nice African pot of stew and become happy together and create something that if I could get somebody from, let's say if we get somebody from Nigeria, from Uganda, who champions the cause from where they are, and we work together and we bring together the synergies of all countries, and maybe at one point in time meet and have a fellowship somewhere and just say what we've been learning. But it takes one person to do just what one person can do, and I start training from where I am. I don't come in prepared that okay, I have what I need, but I don't come in prepared to come and just train. I come and listen to you first, and then I know what I will share. I will help you as an individual, help you as an individual. You will help me in one part or the other where I'm stuck. So we become sisters and we fellowship together and we say, okay, we can do this together. So bringing us together, like the organization's motto says, being the voice of the voiceless, that we can speak on their behalf. And they're also growing up now, and they're taking the spaces where we have been speaking on their behalf, and we would want them to champion their own cause in Kenya. For those who can be able to speak, who can go somewhere and speak by their works, what they're doing, we would want to champion the causes of children who are excelling with autism, to show that it's not just this side, but we also have something else that is much better, that the child can learn and can do something. Taking a video of maybe Ryan when he's at the supermarket and saying that this is what he's doing. And he is able to do all these things on his own. We are not helping, we are not doing anything. We just trained the skills, taught him time management, taught him planning, taught him what to prioritize over the other things. So those are the basic things that you train along the way.
Basic, but man, they're not easy. Time management and all that, it's like, that it's really, oh, that's all we did. I'm like, I need you over here with my son. Let's go. Come on over. So I wanted to ask.
Well, for them, let me just tell you, as long as you know you're supposed to be at work at 9, be there at 9. If you're not there at 9, you don't work that day.
Right. So is your daughter verbal?
Can I call it just selective? She speaks when she wants to.
Okay. How does she communicate then? Maybe not just with you, but with people. She talks? Or...
Yeah, when she needs something and she's looking for something, she'll ask. Although it's one of those aha moments as well. But she does say what she wants. And she says, even when we go to a doctor and she's asked questions, she'll answer. When we go somewhere, she's asked something, she'll answer. But she's the quietest person in the room when we are seated in a group of people. She won't say one word. We can spend a whole day visiting and she won't utter a word. But it's only on questions asked that she'll answer back. If you ask her hi, she'll say hi and she'll wave. She's respectful when she wants to be. We've gone into a function.
You said
once we went
when she wants to be. Woo.
Yeah, it is when she wants to be. It's because when she doesn't want to be, she's not. And
I wish I could take that to, like a chapter from that book, like I don't feel like being nice today. Where, we have to be every day to everybody. We have to play nice in the sandbox with everyone because we're just trying to move this forward. And then we're going to be like, yeah.
That's what I like about them. That's uniqueness of, I'm not in my element, so don't talk to me. And everybody respects that.
Everybody who knows respects that, right? Everybody who knows autism and her and you respects that. But, out in the general public, my guess is
they don't, and they need to learn what
right, they do. They really do. So, what's your, so you had to close the center and then, you had to take some time for self-care. God bless you. You took a good few months. God bless. That's awesome. To kind of rejuvenate and energize and kind of come up with, Tuleane. Did I say that right?
Tuleane. You pronounce it as written.
Yes.
Tuleane. as it is written.
Tuleane,
Kiswahili,
the
yeah.
new vision for the organization and for you is to go more. You want to talk about the new vision for you and what you're trying to do?
The new vision is reaching out. I'm still reaching out to the communities, but through online, which is pocket friendly. Let me start from there. It doesn't demand much. It just wants me to get some internet and a good computer, and I'm good to go. But behind the scenes on our website, we are preparing for your manual that is coming, that we're supposed to be working on. And we are also preparing some skills that I have been teaching the students at the center, the previous center, and over the years with my daughter. We are putting them up on our space in the website so that parents can come and assess themselves and see whether you think your child is autistic. Not really autistic, but what skills can they do? And where do you need help? And how do you need us to help you?
So are you
You can get
developing like
the
an online form or questionnaire so that they kind of, so that you're kind of vetting them? So that's all going to be on your website. Now, one thing that
going
you
to
talked about,
pardon?
one thing that you had said was language, right? So I know that the module that we're working on is going to be in Kiswahili. Is that is that a universal language in Africa? How are you going to overcome the language barrier?
In most countries, it is. And if we require it in English, we can always request. But in most countries in Africa, we understand Kiswahili.
Okay.
It is a medium of communication in Eastern Africa, Eastern Central Africa, actually. So even when it is online, we can ask and say if you want to use it, listen to it in Kiswahili or in English, whichever format we want. But in Kenya, Kiswahili is widely spoken. I think everybody speaks 3 languages, minimum.
Right,
We
because
speak
you
our
had said
dialect.
there's like, how many dialects are there where you are?
Oh,
Was it
we
over 40? So we were talking about the number of languages, and that how that's kind of a challenge, sort of. But you had said that, Kiswahili will be good. So, you are a change maker, a change agent. You have this amazing vision for not just your community, but your country and continent, as far as I can tell, which is amazing. You're amazing. Um, what we what the goal being trying to get people to either enroll and subscribe to to watch the module, different organizations,
Yeah.
government agencies, and that kind of type thing. But there's a lot of organizations where you want to help who don't have the funds to to pay for training, because what you had said is that if you want to have train these people when you go to the communities, because there is absolutely, as you know, it's being in person in front of people is really effective. So you want to bring
Yes.
together a group of people for like a lunch and learn, right? So you have to find a space
Yes.
and then you have to get the lunch. And
Yes. Yeah.
what you've said is that, and with travel expenses and everything else, because everything seems pretty far away, that would be about $100 an event. So, uh,
Yeah.
kind of like it could be like a grant program, and people could um, donate funds, right? To
Mm-hmm.
support this. Um,
Yes.
does that sound like that sounds to me like a good thing? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I'm thinking of doing. Training change makers wherever we go as an organization and helping the mothers, especially, to be able to cope and adapt to the challenges and the needs of the child as the child grows up. The module will help in communities to accept their child as they are without stigmatization. I think everybody knows in the country much about autism and the disability. What they don't have is the acceptance and the heart to agree that this is what the child is and the child is not changing. So that is why I'm saying that we are coming to make the change, to insist on acceptance. Let's remove the stigma from the home and have the child accepted from the home first.
It really does start, well, you said, like we said earlier, it starts with the churches, which is just wow. And then, so it really is
Yeah.
at home. And, you
Mhm.
had mentioned that when there is a child with disability, um, they're pretty much ignored and kind of like left on their own. And
Yes, they are.
which is bad because um, you had also mentioned that if that particular child gets pregnant, they're just they're really cut off, which is wow,
Yeah.
So that says when they're left alone, there's people there preying on them.
Yes,
So
they are.
that's wow. So it's just amazing, all this. I was just at a like a presentation yesterday, and they were talking about the history of uh, um the ADA here in the United States and how all it
Mhm.
started. In the late 1800s, there was something called the ugly laws, where if you were
Mhm.
disfigured or disabled, you were either
Mhm.
institutionalized or it was against the law for you to be in public. And that this is
Yes, yeah.
kind of ended since like the late 1970s into the 80s, and it's just amazing. So it's not, we know that we can affect change. Um,
Yes.
but wow, it's a huge thing, and I get it because I'm kind of doing the same thing, but not like you. You're a special person for sure. So we want to make sure that the people who have watched this, can contact you. I know you have
Mhm.
TuleaneAfrica.com, and then
Yes.
a Facebook page. We'll share your contact information and make sure that people can get in touch with you or donate
Yes.
to help you
Yes.
get Lunch and Learns going.
Yes. We would love to. We would love to share actually my daughter's success story and what your child can be uh, if if accepted, if encouraged, if there is a hand to hold them within the community. So we're going to do home participation, community participation, and inclusion in schools and churches. That is the main goal that we are working on.
You heard it here, people. TuleaneAfrica.com. And we've got Miss Irene, who's Changemaker Rockstar. And please watch, give, donate, contact, and help us.
Thank you. Thank you.